part of this session, which is Digital Reform and Government Transformation with Ms. Lien Nguyen from FPT Nordics. Ms. Lien, welcome, and the stage is yours.
Distinguished guests of Nordic Chamber, Nordic friends, good morning from Copenhagen. My name is Lien from FPT Nordics. Today, I'd like to talk about one simple idea. Reform only matters if it turns into real results for governments, for companies, and for people. Vietnam has chosen digital transformation as a national direction. The question for all of us is how that vision can turn into real value, especially for Nordic businesses. And if you move to the next slide, we can see that governments rarely reform because it's fashionable or because it's cool to have. They reform because the cost of inaction becomes much higher than the cost of change. And you can see Decision 749, it's Vietnam's National Digital Transformation Program, sets very ambitious goals that the digital economy would reach 30 to 35% of GDP by 2030 and 50% by 2045. And already now, nearly 1/5 of Vietnam's GDP is already coming from digital economy. That's the fastest in Southeast Asia. This tells us something very clear. Digital transformation is core to competitiveness. It's no longer optional. And in other words, wait and see is a risk. And in the graph on the right side, you can see that by 2040, AI is expected to inject around 120 to 130 billion US dollars into Vietnam's economy. The implication here is very practical. Companies that adopt AI late won't just be less efficient, they will lose competitiveness to those who embed intelligence early into operations, supply chains, and decision making. And when a country commits to digital transformation and has such a big ambition, its national technology champions must deliver at scale. And that is where FPT steps in. So in the next slide, you can see that FPT began 38 years ago with a very big dream to bring Vietnam into the digital era. And today we have grown into Vietnam's leading ICT group with more than 80 offices around the world, including Denmark and Sweden. We invested early in AI, in data, cybersecurity, cloud, but more importantly, we invested in people. And many of our client logos you can see on the right side are the companies that you might have known well, the global leaders in logistics, manufacturing, energy, you name it. They all have different problems, but one thing they have in common is complexity. And our goal is to help companies innovate with less risks and more speed so that they can turn their strategies into results faster. Companies don't wake up and wanting AI or wanting cloud. They want smoother integration after M&A. They want smarter and more predictable operations. They want faster decisions based on trusted data, platforms that are secured and future ready. And that is the outcome that we focus on and not only buzzwords. In the next slide, you can see that our decision to enter the Nordics was intentional and future-focused. We see this region as one of the most innovative, sustainable, and trust-driven in the world. Those are the values that we share so much, that match so much with our own. And our journey here is still young, but our commitment is long-term. We'd like to grow with the Nordic market and invest in relationships that last. 3 years ago, in September 2022, we opened our Denmark office. And this was more than just a business expansion. It was a promise that FPT is here to stay in the Nordics, to learn from you, to partner with you, and to bring Vietnamese innovation to your doorstep, be it in Vietnam or at your headquarters in the Nordic region. In the next slide, you can see that one of our very first Danish clients was Yuli Sandlao. And in the picture, that was the signing ceremony for their smart factory solution. It was an unforgettable moment, honored by Their Majesties, the King and Queen of Denmark and Ambassador Nikolai Prutz on the 50th anniversary of Vietnam and Denmark relations. That moment reminded us that technology is not only about machines and code, it's about trust, culture, and shared values. And thankfully, Julie Sanla has remained a very happy client ever since, and we're very proud of this partnership. And in the next slide, earlier today, you heard from DSV Vietnam about how supply chains and operations are evolving on the ground. Now we're looking at a different layer of the same story. What happens after growth when you grow so fast and when you scale and when complexity and integration really begin? And rather than me explaining about what partnership means in that context, I am very pleased and grateful that Mr. Per Engelbrecht, Director of Integration and Migration Services at DSV Group, has kindly agreed to join me to share a few words on what collaboration with FPT has meant from DSV perspective. So Per, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Lien. I think I'm sitting in the coldest room at HQ here, so I'm shivering a bit, but let's get on with it. Good afternoon, all. It's an honor and a pleasure being part of FPT's Nordic KickOff 2026, and of course, not least to represent DSV. I'm going to share a few thoughts and my insights on the importance of collaboration in driving our global progress in DSV. And what can I say, as opposed to Eric Herding's brilliant insight into logistics, I will go into the more maybe technical or tangible insight on where we are today. Personally, I think we all do. I find partnerships essential. It's about combining the global expertise and not least muscle of DSV with strong regional presence and support from partners. I see and we see FPT as a strategic partner with the scale and the capacity and capability to support DSV in achieving our goals, not only in Southeast Asia, but across all of Asia Pacific. To give you some background on as to what I do and in what capacity I speak, I can say that we in my area are responsible for strategic enablement, for standardization and consolidation. I'll get to the point on as to why this is important in a minute. We are one of the pillars supporting the overarching enterprise integration. Enterprise integrations are the ones handling the millions of messages daily, internally and externally going in and out of DSV. Messages in this context are booking, shipments, invoices, updates, customs, declarations, and much, much more. Enterprise integration is therefore crucial for DSV, and the entire area is a highly specialized. It's fast-paced and it's volatile. It's all about ensuring data quality and throughput. And why is this important? It is important because not all partners can support this. The man with the vision for FPT was our group CIO, Jesper Riis. And I must admit, and in all honesty, I was in the beginning a bit skeptical, and I was also blissfully unaware of the potential of FPT. Fast forward, I have had the privilege of spearheading the partnership with FPT and have today technical specialists from FPT supporting my area. And they're doing it well, I might add. Partnerships like this is how we tackle complex challenges. It is how we extend our bandwidth, and with that extension, we create new opportunities. It is my firm conviction that the commitment I see from FPT will lay the foundation for a long-term partnership between DSV and FPT. Those were the words. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Per. Strong partnership and trust from DSV, the world's largest logistics company, is both an honor and a responsibility that we take very seriously. Yeah, so last year, our chairwoman, our CEO, and I have traveled across Denmark and the Nordics to meet with clients, to listen and to collaborate. These visits helped us deepen relationships and better understand your challenges. We are committed to supporting Nordic companies, not just as a delivery partner, but as a long-term transformation partner. Vietnam has chosen digital reform as a path to competitiveness. FPT has chosen to carry that responsibility at scale. But transformation is not something we do for you. It must be something that we do with you. We invite you to challenge us with your hardest problems, to partner with us, to build solutions that are sustainable, secure, and future ready. From vision to results together. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lien, and thank you, Per, for this wonderful interaction, also the showcase of your partnership. We look forward to also, on behalf of Norcham, working with you throughout the year on this as well. Thank you so much, Ms. Lien.